Welcome to the Concealed Taco Dudes podcast, episode 80.
Woo! We've made it to 80.
Amazing. This week on the Geriatric Report, we're going to teach you how to take care of your bunions and how to pick the perfect hemorrhoid cream. So stay tuned.
Oh, what?
I am listening now.
I figured after last week's geriatric episode, it's going to be a new feature, right?
No, I'm in my 40s still. I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff quite yet. So
I didn't think I had to either.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but you got me by like, what, 10 years?
Yeah.
Ish?
A little more, yeah.
Yeah. Well, here we are today at the Utah Airguns studio.
Ooh. Yeah.
And joining with us today is Justin. So we're excited to be here, and we've got a good show planned for you.
Hey, I'm happy to be back on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for meeting with us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's always fun to be at Utah Airguns.
It is.
It's
I would say it's fun, but expensive.
It is.
I always tell people it's
like visiting your drug dealer.
yeah, and they're like, "Hey, free samples! I got this new air gun,
That's right.
and we have a range right here. You want to test it out?"
Right.
Well, yeah,
First hit's free, fellas.
Nice.
but
Nice.
anyways, let's go ahead and hit some
Let's
sponsors.
knock some sponsors out.
So first, Black Ice Coatings. BlackIceCoatings.com. They are the best gun coaters. And they also can coat other things other than guns.
Yeah.
Like air guns. And I saw on
Car
Lee's
parts?
car parts. And I think it was like a safety helmet. What do you call those? A hard hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he just did this cool
Yeah.
hard hat pattern.
They've done a lot of softball helmets I've seen and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah.
You know what
So-
I've seen him do that was really cool? He did like all the console stuff in my friend's boat.
Oh,
It had been
cool.
sun damaged, and so it just looked like crap. But he did a cool hydro dip and gloss over it. So I mean, if you didn't know any better, it looks like perfect, like really nice wood, like you'd see.
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it turned out really nice. It was
Makes it pop.
Yeah.
made it pop.
Yeah. I know he's done. They did the console on his daughter's Xterra, all in like carbon fiber.
Yeah,
it's
looks
way
really
cool.
Yeah.
He can do. I mean, if it can fit in a
If
tank,
it'll fit in this tank, which
he
is
can-
quite large.
yeah,
Yeah, you could go swimming in that tank, although I wouldn't recommend it.
No.
You might not come out with like your whole body.
yeah.
Yeah. So check out Black Ice Coatings at blackicecoatings.com. Follow them on Instagram. I think they're on Facebook too. I don't know.
Yeah.
They do awesome work. We use them a ton and have never been disappointed with anything we've had from them. When you get set up to have something done, make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Concealed Taco Dudes podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Second sponsor, NOEBulletMolds.com. Some
Yep.
of the finest bullet molds on the planet.
I just got one
Oh, yes, you did.
for the 22 Hollow Point Slug
Yes.
pellet.
That's the one that Jason got one, and then so I got one too, because, you know, in case there's ever a falling out.
So when we break up.
Yeah. I want to have my own mold.
Right.
But
I didn't know we had a prenup.
That's funny. Well, you said they shoot really good, right? I mean,
yeah, well, I haven't tried these ones. These are the hollow
Yeah.
point slugs.
oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Apparently
I was using the little wad cutter pellets,
Yeah.
and
But you cast those too.
I did cast
Yeah.
those, and many things have fallen from up high.
You're telling me it was
It
effective.
slaps them pretty hard because of that big flat
Yeah.
point. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
NOEBulletMolds.com. Use coupon code FLT001. It'll save you 10%. And I thought that there were a lot of molds out of stock in his shop, but when I picked up mine, I was walking through the aisles of molds. He has
He's
a lot of
got
stuff.
So much inventory. It's crazy.
It's crazy. And all the different options of hollow points, non-hollow points, and the 2 cavity, 3, 4, 5, seems like there's something for everyone over there.
Oh, for sure.
But,
For sure.
Yeah.
Pretty fascinating to see how many variants he has. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if he doesn't have something that you want, he'll probably make it.
Yeah, you got to get about 10 people to buy it.
Yeah, you got to make it worth his while, for sure. Yeah.
But it's not a huge investment, even if you got 10 made and sold them. Honestly, he does it pretty reasonable.
Yeah, and top-notch quality.
Yeah.
Materials he uses.
For sure.
I was going to say, I think I'm going to do some tinkering with the 22 TCM and a cast bullet. So I don't know if I need to gas check those ones or not. I'm hoping I don't, because gas checks for 22 cals are like tiny. You almost need like, I don't know, tweezers to put them on the bullets.
Yeah.
But should be fun. NOEBulletMolds.com.
Awesome.
Then we have Concealment Solutions.
Concealment Solutions. I have been working my butt off this week, and I am more or less caught up to my regular 5 to 7 business day lead time. So I got a lot done. I screwed up a lot of stuff. In fact...
Oh, you're not supposed to talk about that on air.
No. Not like that. It's like your buddy Riley ordered a holster for his Glock 19 with a Vortex red dot on it and an O-Light Mini for inside the waistband. I'm like, okay, he's on my board. My board has been just packed full. Like, I had to write smaller to fit everything on. That's just the local stuff. Anyway, called him, hey, got your stuff done. He came over yesterday to pick it up, and I forgot to mold it for the O-Light.
Oh, no.
Whoops. So, if you're carrying a Glock 19 with a red dot optic, I have a holster ready to go for you.
Discounted.
Maybe.
That's funny.
So the same day, I had another customer come in. I made a couple Cobra holsters outside the waistband in the Cryptek Typhon for him. One for a SIG 1911 and one for a SIG 320 XC, which is their little bit smaller than the compact, but not the subcompact, and it's milled for a red dot. And I remember I'm building it, and for the Cobras, if you have a red dot on it, you want to order the Cobra Zero with a zero cant, so that the red dot will clear the Kydex. And I'm building this holster, and I'm thinking, why doesn't he have a red dot on this? Because it's cut out for it. That's just kind of weird why you would buy that model.
Yeah.
He comes to pick it up. Yeah, he has a red dot on it, and it was on my notes on the board that he had a red dot on it. So I'm like, it's 2 I screwed up. I got to remake. So if you have a SIG P320XC and you don't have a red dot on it, contact me. I have a deal for you.
Awesome.
One more.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of a SIG P230? It's kind of like the Walther PPK. It's kind of that style.
I've seen that, yeah.
Cool gun. I haven't sold a holster for one of those in quite a while. I had 2 orders this week for one. But the first one was a left-handed Cobra with the We the People Constitution flag pattern, which adds $10 to the price. And I made him a P320 instead of a 230.
Oh.
So now I have a left-handed gun with the custom printed Kydex for a not-so-common gun that's going to sit in my shop forever. So if you have a SIG P230 and you're left-handed, I will give you a screaming deal on a sweet holster. Anyway, that's just nature of the beast when I was so far behind and trying to catch up. But things are good now. We're humming along. And
now I will say, after Jason has just told us about his mistakes, the good thing is you can buy in confidence because he stands behind all his work. So if you have problems, he'll make it right.
Absolutely. And if you get something that isn't right, or you need it to do something different, or it wasn't what you expected, whatever, I give you 30 days actually to test it. If you are new to carrying and stuff like that and you're not sure what you need, call me. I'm the one who's going to answer the phone, and I will help you find what's going to work best for you. If it just doesn't work the way you think it needs to, talk to me. We'll swap it out for something else, whatever. My biggest concern is making sure that you end up with something that is going to work for you, that you're going to use. I'm not interested in sending product to people that's going to sit in a drawer.
All right. Cool. What's your coupon code?
My coupon code is Show Me the Candy.
Show Me the Candy.
Oh, here's another thing. If you use Show Me the Candy, I've got an extra thing that I'm going to throw in with your order.
Is
in
it
addition
a free
to,
left-handed?
it's a free left-handed Sig Pete? No. So that'll save you 15% off your entire order if you use that code. But while supplies last, you're going to get a Concealed Taco Dude's Paco the Taco Dude refrigerator magnet at no charge.
Ooh, nice.
How can I do that and stay in business? I don't know.
So generous.
I have a limited number of the Concealed Taco Dude's logo refrigerator magnets.
All right.
Because who doesn't need a refrigerator magnet?
I might need to get one for
I
posterity.
meant to bring them so I
Definitely
could give
one.
them to
Yeah.
you guys, but
Yeah.
I left them on my desk.
Can it double as not like a bumper sticker, but like just stick it to your car?
Sure, I don't know that it's going to stay on in some nasty weather, but
I want one for the wall on the range.
okay,
Yeah.
you know, I'll bring you a big
one.
bumper sticker.
Do it.
Yeah,
I like it.
I still have bumper stickers. You can order that stuff on the website if you need a Paco the Taco Dude sticker. They're there.
Okay.
But anyway,
All right. And finally, we have Mag Holder.
he's not here. Just skip it.
Just skip him. But he makes the
He's dead
best,
to
the best horizontal mag carriers, and
Yes.
they really are nice.
And the new design, now not the full line isn't available in the new design yet, but like the shields, the Glock 43s, the P365 and the 320 SIGs are all in the new design where the belt clips pop off. You can reverse them so you can carry it right side, left side. They've got the steel retention plate that locks it in place. I had a customer that had ordered one. He actually emailed me, hey, I'm left-handed, I'm going to draw with my right hand, which one do I need? And so I said, you need to select a right-handed one. And it was I think it was for the 365. Sent it to him, and he called me. He was a little upset. Hey, I talked to you, and and you sent me a left-handed one, and I wasn't able to answer the phone when he called, so I called him back. What's going on, And he says, well, this is what I have. I said, what model is it? I said, those are ambidextrous. So I talked him through popping the clips off and switching around. He's like, oh, this is awesome. Great, thank you. And I'm like, I know I didn't send you the wrong thing, which sometimes that happens, as we know. But
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So use coupon code Get in the Van.
I have candy.
And that'll save you.
And he pretty much gives it to you for free when you use that code.
Pretty much. Pretty close. So,
Hey, can't beat that.
All
So
right.
we're at Utah Airguns, but before we jump in and talk about Utah Airguns a whole bunch, because I don't want to forget, you have a discount code.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you remember what your discount code is with us?
Air candy.
Yes,
Air candy.
it is. Air
Absolutely,
candy.
I remember.
There's a theme. I'm sensing a theme.
Yeah.
And that gives free shipping and turret stickers for your
Correct.
scope.
Correct.
Awesome. Cool.
All right. Let's go around real fast.
'Kay.
What we did with guns.
Okay.
Okay, so this week I've been busy helping friends. That was one of my New Year's resolutions, to help teach 10 people how to cast or reload or both.
Right.
And so I was working on some 22 TCM ammo with a friend. And so we got a couple hundred rounds loaded up of that, and that's a pretty cool little cartridge. It's got the little tiny bullets, a 40 grain, little stubbier bullet.
And it's a necked cartridge, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like a 223 that just got short.
So what
real
size
short.
is the
Really?
cartridge before it necks down? Do you know? Like what caliber?
Well, it's like I said, it's like a 223 that you just cut out the midsection of it.
Okay, so it's
And
like a
then
short 223.
And then it's short enough to fit in a 38 Super magazine.
Okay.
And so Rock Island Armory makes those little 22 TCM / 9mm combo 1911s where you can swap out the spring in the barrel and use the same mags, and you can shoot either 9mm or 22 TCM. So 22 TCM
That's
shoots
pretty-
this little.
that's pretty
yeah,
cool.
it's like a little
Yeah.
tiny 40 grain bullet, and they get it going about. Out of the pistol, I believe it's 1,900 feet per second up to about 2,100 feet per
That's
second.
screaming.
Yeah. So
that's
and
right.
the crazy thing about it is it's kind of like shooting the 5.7 pistols. There's like
Right.
not much recoil at all.
Yeah.
And well, I don't think the 5.7 pistols have quite as much muzzle flash, but these things are like fire breathers.
Yeah, I bet.
Boom! You see
The
this
dragon's
ball.
breath.
Yeah, dragon's breath.
cool.
So it's kind of a fun gun to shoot. You know, destroys milk jugs or
I
fruit
bet.
or whatever. Pretty good.
Cool.
So we did some 22 TCM, and I did some more. I had so much fun at my, the Mike and Mike birthday party shoot that I ended up. I needed more of those soft cast 200 grain 38 special hollow points.
Oh, yeah.
And, with that Marlin 1894, the threaded version, man, shooting those 38 specials with that heavy bullet that just mushrooms out, it is the funniest thing to shoot jugs because you hear the click of the hammer and then you hear the explosion of the jug, like that big massive hollow point slapping the jug.
Huh.
And so it almost, on the video clip, it looked like the audio and video was off
Right.
because of there's that delay between the bullet, pulling the
Right.
trigger and the bullet hitting the
I know the sound.
yeah. I mean, that's probably very similar with the air guns because they're both subsonic and everything. But so I loaded some of that, and I did some other stuff. I bought a few guns, but I have to figure out my net numbers, so I'm not going to talk about it till next week.
Okay.
I built a couple ARs, and so one of them counted because I bought a receiver, and the other didn't because
You already
I already
it.
had the receiver.
Okay.
So
All right.
yeah. Okay.
Perfect. Well, hey.
Did you do
Thanks for
anything with
being here.
guns?
Let's see. What did I do with guns?
Air guns or guns?
I haven't done much just because I had shoulder surgery a month ago. On
The
my
geriatric show.
The geriatric show. I'm getting too old for this. No.
How old are you decade wise? 40s, 50s?
I'm mid 40s. So
Okay, so you got me by a couple years, but
yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
yeah. Well, wait till you cross that threshold, pal.
Yeah.
About 44, you just
Everything stops
your
working.
eyes stop working.
Oh, for sure.
Well, no, I've noticed that my eyes are not as good as they used to be, and focusing on that front sight with iron sights, it's a little tougher.
Yeah.
It's a tough pill to swallow too. When you realize that you're getting old and your eyes are fading, you're like, oh no.
I'm turning
I need
into my
these.
dad.
All the stuff I do for fun requires eyes.
So I didn't do much, to be honest with you. Because I can't bear any weight with my dominant
You
hand
told
right
us
now.
you were taking down some of the employees in
Well,
a competition
okay.
on the
Yeah, a
range.
speed
I
competition.
did have a speed contest last night because I was able to
Shoot from
I was shooting the little Air Max Cayman X on the bench, which is a little short bullpup gun.
And you were shooting from the other shoulder, weren't you? Or
I
were
was
you?
shooting from the right,
Okay.
but I didn't have to bear any weight really
Right.
Because
to
it's
lift
rested.
it.
Yeah.
I would lift it, put it in place against my shoulder basically, and reach up and hold the grip and the trigger. But where that can switch
The charge
ambidextrous
handle, yeah.
cocking,
Yeah.
I was running it left-handed, and turns out I should shoot like that more often. Really fast.
So normally,
Cool.
like on say the FX guns, they have the charger on the right side,
Right.
and so that's the same hand that you're using to pull the trigger. So you can still do it really fast, but it's not quite as fast
Not
as
as
if you
fast
have
as staying
the
static
left.
with
Yeah.
your trigger hand. For
And
sure.
see, that's how I shoot from the left, and I like having the charge handle on the right
Yeah.
for the same reason.
Yeah.
It's
so-
just more natural and quicker. And
Freehand, it's
and you're-
tough, but
yeah,
on a
rest.
bipod or a bench, it's
or
super
even with a
awesome.
smaller gun like a bullpup.
Yeah.
But it just being able to keep your finger on the trigger while you're charging
Yes.
it.
Well, in the cowboy action shooters, the revolver, when you shoot the revolvers, then you cock the hammer with your left hand.
Right.
So
Yeah.
because you can do that faster because you're cocking the hammer and pulling the trigger almost the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But anyways,
Cool.
So that's what I've done this week, I guess.
you've shot some air guns and
I shot some air guns.
took some employees to school.
Yeah. Took those youngsters to town this time, so that's rare anymore.
Some of those guys are fast. I watched a couple
Yeah,
of your videos.
they are-
They're just they're.
We
they're
have a
fast.
kid, Jaden, that works here, and he's young. He's like 20, but he's just got the those young, reaction time. He's super fast. So it was like pretty good bragging rights. So
Yeah, that's
Cool.
awesome. Okay,
Cool.
Jason, what'd you do?
I didn't do much with guns. I was in the shop a lot, working my tail off to get caught up and
So making holsters.
making
huh?
holsters. I started shopping a little bit for a new lever action, and I'm not
Okay,
sure.
what caliber?
I'm debating between 357 and 45 Colt.
What revolver do you have right now?
I have 45 Colt,
Get a 45 Colt then.
and that's why I was thinking about
There you
it.
go.
But it seems like you get a little more versatility out of the 357.
Versatility, yes, no. You can have really versatile 45 Colt loads.
Okay.
So you can, in a strong action, you wouldn't want to do this in, some of the reproduction single action revolvers that are built a little weaker.
Right.
But you can load 45 Colt to match about 44 mag.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it could be, you can have some pretty potent 45 Colt loads,
Okay.
and especially in the lever action,
Uh-huh.
then you can get that thing going pretty good.
Yeah.
And you can also go down to the bottom of cowboy type loads, and you
Right.
can even shoot on the bottom end. You can get these little wad cutters that they're really fun
Yeah.
for the revolver. They probably won't feed as good in the lever action,
Right.
but you can also do round balls. You can get just the round balls,
Uh-huh.
and you can load those in the lever action or the revolver,
Huh.
and that's like a really good plinking load.
Okay.
So I've got.
So that
I love
it-
45 Colt, so I.
So
I can
do
give
I.
you-
That solves that part of the equation. And now getting down to
But
which gun.
Let me kind of interject here.
Okay.
If you do a 357, you won't regret it either.
Right. And I know
But
that.
you will have to buy the pair. So you said you don't have a revolver in
So I'd have to
357,
buy a
so you would have to buy
357?
a 357
Sure.
revolver and the lever action.
Sure.
So it'll be a little bit more expensive.
I love
But-
I love my 45 Colt, and the cowboy rig, the holster I have for it is amazing. So
Well, when we took the young men's group,
uh-huh.
the scouts out shooting, they really liked that 45 Colt, the stainless I
Yep.
had that was all shiny
Yep.
and looked pretty. That
Uh-huh.
was one of their favorite guns.
Yeah.
And it's surprising.
Yeah.
But
And that was kind of the way I was leaning anyway, because I have the revolver already. And then as far as what gun to get, now it's going to play a little bit into what's available, what's
Yeah.
out there, because I'm going to have someone order it for me, I'm sure. But the Henrys, I love Henrys. They're the top end of the food chain as far as price goes. They're spendy.
yeah,
They make some beautiful stuff, and I'm not opposed to spending it. Then I was looking. Marlin's website is stupid. They won't even show you a full picture of the gun.
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Marlins right now, I don't know if it's because they're not building them,
Uh-huh.
but they are scarce.
Yeah.
So online on the local classifieds, they're selling 4570 Marlins for $2,000
Oh,
or something. It's
jeez.
insane.
Wow.
Crazy.
Well, and I have a Marlin 3030 that I haven't been happy with, that I still need to send back to get the
I wouldn't send anything to. Well, I don't even know because Ruger bought Marlin,
right.
and so I don't know what their production is going to be like.
It
What their
seems like they're
support,
kind of in a transitioning period right now.
Yeah, and I don't know
so
if they're changing locations or what. But
maybe I just take it to Gene and have Gene look
Slick
at
it up.
for me. But yeah, the load gate has always been a problem.
yeah,
It's got a burr on the underside of it or something, and it's tough to get a second round in because the gate hangs up on the round, and
Yeah.
and then we had that massive malfunction when we were shooting them
Oh, yeah.
a while ago.
got locked.
So yeah, so I'm not crazy about going with a Marlin because of that issue, but I know they've improved a ton since I bought that one. Also,
Okay, I will also say that the pistol caliber carbines,
Uh-huh.
meaning lever action,
Right.
44, 45, 357,
right,
those are totally solid.
Right.
So I have a little bit of I have a Henry or a couple Henrys and a couple Marlins, a couple Rossies. I will say if you're mounting optics, you'll have to either use the Henry or the Marlin.
yeah,
The Rossies eject from the top,
Yeah.
so you can't really mount. except if you use like the NOE barrel rail mount, where you drift out your left rear sight, or not left, the rear sight. I'm thinking,
but
like,
you keep the right rear.
You tap it in from the right to left.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, you
And
tap
then
it out
it
from
puts
the
a little
left.
pick rail on there.
Yeah, there are some of them are drilled and tapped under the rear sight.
Yeah.
So it has like screws and stuff.
I was looking at the Rossies. I've never owned a Rossi. I know you have some that you like, and Stan really likes the Rossi 92.
He has a 92.
Yeah.
Gene fixed for him.
Yeah. That's because he blew it up.
Okay, so the Rossi it's awesome as a beater gun.
Right.
Like, they're cheaper, so they don't.
Right.
They're not as shiny.
Right.
You don't feel as bad, like if it gets a little scratch on it or something.
If it falls off the tailgate.
Yeah, if you get a
going down the
Henry,
freeway.
the finish is so nice. The stocks are nice. I'm talking about the shiny ones with the wood stocks.
Right.
They also make these new, more tactical looking ones.
Right.
And I do have, I think it's a threaded 44 mag.
Yeah.
I think I'll have to check. I can't remember if that was. I haven't shot it much, and so I don't know if it's a 45 Colt or 44 mag that I bought.
Yeah.
But
So probably what will happen is I'll go down to the shop and say,
I want a lever action.
I need a lever action and 45 Colt. What can you get me? And go from there.
Yeah.
What's available? What's going to be available? But
Yeah, and if the listeners have feedback, go ahead and send it.
yeah, if
to
you've
us.
got something that you love or something that you hate, let me know. Steer me in the right direction.
But generally speaking, I like if I'm mounting optics, I kind of like the Marlins better.
Sure.
And I like the Henrys have some new ones that they have a loading gate now, so you can top off, so you don't have to like stick your hands by the barrel and pull that tube out.
Right.
I hate that about the Henrys. But
Yeah.
they finally listened to their customers, and I think they have both. So
It's got both.
can
You
just
still
use the
can
tube
load
or-
it from the feed tube, or
Yeah.
you can load it from the side.
Which makes sense if you're going to suppress the lever action. Then you don't want to have that. You have to pull off the suppressor, pull the tube off. Yeah, it's a pain. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, Marlins they've finally got their quality that is pretty good.
Well, and
then
if Ruger owns them now, that gives me confidence that they're going to stay good, and if not get better. I've been happy with any Ruger I've ever owned.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've had good luck with Ruger, Smith and Wesson, like the American companies. They've had good service and stuff.
Except Colt.
Colt. That's like the most mismanaged company ever.
It is. They're selling a name. But anyway, we won't bash on Colt. They make pretty stuff.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind having a Colt.
I bought a Colt 1911 because it was a Colt and I wanted it, and it was the worst. Not just the worst 1911 I've ever owned, but just not one of the best guns I've ever had.
Okay, I did the same thing, and then I love mine.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
but
Yeah.
Hey,
So hit or miss.
1911s, sometimes they work really well, and sometimes they don't.
Well,
and sometimes it's the ones that
and
should
I
work
did
really
buy
well, don't,
it was their Colt New Agent, so it was like a 3-inch or 3.25-inch barrel. Yeah, which you're kind of asking to have some issues just by going with a short-barreled 1911 anyway.
yeah.
But
Mine was the Colt Defender, so it was that short 45.
really,
Yeah,
and no
it
issues.
works
Yeah.
great. Like,
Yeah.
So hit or miss.
Yep.
But
Exactly.
all right, let's jump into our topic.
Let's do it.
All right, so the topic today is air guns, the great alternative.
There you go.
With ammo, and not just ammo being tough to find, but reloading components almost impossible to find.
Yeah, powder,
And-
primers.
And when you can find it, you gotta dig deep
Yeah.
to get it. We thought perfect opportunity to talk about a awesome alternative, which is air guns.
And when we're talking alternative, we're obviously talking alternative to what you're shooting now, or
Yeah.
what you wish you were shooting right now because
Right.
you don't have ammo for it.
Right.
So air guns, you can fill the void really well, especially when you're talking replacing trigger time. I can assure you, if you have a high-end air gun, you will get your trigger time like never before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And easier.
and you can shoot them in more places.
Yes.
Like,
if you've got a little bit of property, more than likely shooting your air gun, depending on what it is and how it's set up, not a big deal on your own property.
Yeah. So we had a group in here the other night, and one of the gentlemen asked me. He said, "So tell me, I've not been around these. What is the draw? What's the draw to these? What makes them so cool?"
did you take him to the range and have him test it out?
Had he not shot one yet?
Let us get past the safety briefing, then you'll see. No, but but I explained to him. I said, "Well, you can shoot in a lot more areas where you wouldn't normally be able to just rattle off with firearms, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The ammunition, you buy a tin of 500 pellets for $17.
Yeah.
It's quiet. They're super, super accurate, and you can buy ammo for one thing.
Yeah.
It's always here.
It is available.
And anybody can shoot them. There's no noise. There's no recoil, so they're not intimidating to a first-time person. They're not, and it's actually quite rewarding, actually, to the especially somebody who's their first experience with shooting a firearm that kicked, and they didn't really enjoy it, or the noise really bothered them.
And that's my wife is in that boat. So like, I need to bring her down here and let her
need to have date night.
Yeah. And because she did a shooting class, an Appleseed class with 22s, and she outshot me, having not almost ever shot before, which didn't surprise me because that's just the way she is. She's super competitive and very good at what she does when she puts her mind to it. So I think shooting an air gun, she could totally get into it. I can see that happening.
Yeah,
that happens a lot too. People come in with couples, and they end up shooting. Then they ended up having couples guns because they just love it.
Right.
Did he end up shooting on the range?
Yeah.
Did he end up walking out with a gun?
He was like, so anyway, I need to buy one of these. So, and that's the thing, especially with, like I said, people have been shooting and not really had that great experience where, the noise or the recoil bothered them. Right. And the other thing is, with a lot of firearms, a lot of times their first experience is like they're standing there freehand shooting something, and they're not hitting anything, and it's kind of like, okay, this is almost embarrassing to me. I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't like the noise or whatever. And so they just don't want to shoot again. It's just like, well, I tried shooting and didn't love it. You know?
Yeah.
But with these, they get in, they shoot them, and they're hitting like these little teeny targets at distance with no noise, no recoil, and really no effort. They just put it on the target, shoot it, and it hits it, and they're like, this is awesome. I want to do this a lot, So it's fun. It's...
well, and if you think about it from the prepping perspective, what purposes do air guns, air rifles serve from like a prepping or prepper perspective?
One, you can store a lot of ammo in a tight space.
Yep.
Two, you can pretty much have the resources to shoot one in any situation, even if it's an off-grid situation where you don't have power, you don't have anything, except for solar, or you don't even need that.
And one idea that I was thinking about is you can cast a lot of pellets with 1 pound of lead.
Absolutely.
And so if you were to get an air gun and you have your bullet mold, you could cast like the bullets over like hot coals or something like that. Like you can make your bullets or projectiles. And you can use soft lead. Well, you're supposed to use soft lead. But you don't have to sweeten it up, so soft lead is cheaper than the harder stuff. And you don't have to lube the projectiles, the bullets.
Right.
Think about how versatile just a 22 caliber is, anyway, in a regular firearm.
Gun.
And you're talking about the exact same thing, assuming you get a 22, but you can take small game with it very easily, and then you go all the way up to stuff that you could take large game with. And that's something that interests me to a certain degree. I would eventually like to get something that I could take a deer with, and it's more or less equivalent to like hunting with a muzzle loader. Would you compare that?
That'd be a similar comparison.
Because you're going to have to get a little bit closer, but you still have a decent range, and you still have that same knockdown power.
Yeah, exactly.
And that 50 cal is pretty impressive. Jason didn't get to shoot.
I didn't get to shoot that.
But those bullets that I cast, that was a lot of energy. Those were heavy bullets, and
I think we're pushing upwards of 800 foot-pounds out of that gun.
At the 50 caliber
Yeah.
slug.
rifle,
Yeah.
Wow.
And we were stacking the slugs
Yeah.
right on top of
The
each other.
accuracy with
yeah.
these things, even what would be considered kind of a budget gun, you can still get super good accuracy out of these things.
Yeah, especially nowadays. There, a few years back, you couldn't really get a budget gun. Like when I say budget, in the realm that we're in with pre-charged pneumatic guns, meaning
Right.
you fill them with high pressured air. They have their own onboard air reservoir. That's to explain
You're not
pre-charged
pumping it
pneumatic.
20 times
Yeah.
and then getting
Right.
one more.
right. So
The pre-charged pneumatics are the next level beyond.
Like the brake barrel.
sorry,
The brake
budgets.
barrel
That's where I was
and
going
the
with this.
pump
So
and stuff
budgets
like that.
in pre-charged pneumatics. It used to be about, to get into it much at all, it was $500 to get something that was remotely decent.
Right.
And now $275 and up, you can actually get a pre-charged air gun that
Nice.
shoots very well.
Nice.
All right.
It's
We did have some listener feedback. A guy wrote in and he was asking about, because he wanted to get an air gun. I think he sold something and he's like, okay,
I've got
I have
the money, sure.
What should I get? What do you recommend?
Okay.
And so I wanted to, in answering his question, we can also answer other people's questions, but I want to know kind of what would be the price point favorites. Like if you're going from something $300 or less, what would you say? Or like the entry or budget,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
still really good.
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So starting at about $275, there's a pre-charged pneumatic called the Umarex Gauntlet.
Okay.
It's a really popular gun. It's regulated. It gets great shot count. It's quiet, pretty accurate, and that's a great start. And
Yep.
that's about where it starts.
What calibers does that model come in?
That one actually comes 177, 25. I'm sorry, 177, 22, or 25 caliber.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's pretty
So you got
versatile.
some options.
Yeah, the Hotson Flash is another one that's a $300 price point. That's
That's that little bullpup.
so they have two. They have the Flash, which is the standard rifle, but they
Okay.
also have what's called a Flash Pup, which is the bullpup
Okay.
version of that gun.
Okay.
Bullpup's about $50 more than the standard,
Okay.
but that's another phenomenal gun for the money.
Right.
The Air Venturi Avenger is another one that's really
That's, I think,
hit
one
the
we
scene
looked at.
really hard lately because it's a $300 price point.
And
It
that's-
turns
that's-
out
We were looking at that one.
That's more or less a standard rifle configuration.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. And
Which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah, no, I quite enjoy that as
Yeah.
well. But I mean, the only knock I would have on that gun for the price point is the stock feels like a $300 gun.
Yeah.
yeah.
But everything else for $300, it has a side lever, which none of the others do. The others have a standard bolt. The side lever,
Okay.
you guys have
Yeah,
used them.
yeah.
That kind of pendulum style bolt.
Uh-huh.
Way smoother, easier to cock,
Right.
But it's got the side
and it's
lever.
fast. It's
It's
that
fast.
side lever is
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah. Side levers definitely cycle way faster than a standard bolt. So, but I mean, that gun's regulated and shoots phenomenal. I mean, it is really accurate. It's almost like, hey, tone it down, cheap guys.
Yeah.
You're starting to make our high-end guns look like, hey, come on.
That's
But-
awesome.
Nice.
But those in that price point, fantastic options. Any one of them would be, especially if you've never shot a pre-charged air gun again, it's going to blow your mind how
Yeah.
good it is.
yeah.
So if you're used to using a brake barrel or a multi-pump,
Uh-huh.
this is going to just
Oh, yeah.
kind of turn your world upside down, even at $300.
And another cool thing, sorry to
Yeah, no,
interrupt,
you're good.
but you can use real scopes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I'm
a
glad you
lot of
brought
the
that up.
Springer ones they chew up real rifle scopes.
Yeah. So, and there are a lot of victims of this that never know this because if you buy a brake barrel Gammo at Walmart, the cashier's not going to tell you, hey, don't put a nice scope on this; it's going to demolish it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go home and put, they pull it off the shelf rifle, scope that they've had. And trust me, anything that's a spring-driven gun, like a brake barrel is or a side lever, those will absolutely pummel your nice
Yeah.
scope.
They just put so
Yeah.
much vibration through everything on every shot.
Yeah, you have a really violent recoil going forward because of that piston going forward on a big spring.
Yeah.
And then also the recoil of a standard,
It just rattles them loose.
Yep.
they're not made to be beat up from both sides of recoil generally.
Right.
Is the best way I could explain it.
But these pre-charged pneumatics do not have that issue.
Right.
So you can put really nice scopes on, and you can even actually use some of the cheaper scopes, like gun scopes.
Sure.
And
You absolutely
they're
can.
really easy on the scopes.
Yeah.
So
We know people have put really cheap scopes on nice guns.
Jason. He's shaking his head, but he
I'm
knows
just
it's
giving you a
true.
hard time. But yes, they will. They work. They work.
Could have gone cheaper.
So $300 price point. That's the guns I would say. You jump up middle of the area. I would say in that $500 to $700. The Air Force, the Talon P, or the or the.
I was looking at some of the Air Force guns. There's a Talon, and I can't remember what the
Talon or the Condor. Both are in that that price point.
Now those are
Phenomenal
single shots.
They are.
typically.
It's a single shot. Some people are totally fine with single shot.
Sure.
And
Taco shoots his single shot more than anything else.
yeah, it's a little leshy one. So, but that's a company that's been around. They're American made, and they've been around forever. So
And
just
super high quality.
super high
Okay,
quality.
now when you say single shot, you don't mean you get one shot per tank.
That's
I'm
correct.
sorry. Yeah, that's correct.
So I just wanted to throw that out there. It's not it doesn't have a magazine where you can feed from a magazine.
Right.
Correct.
But you do
It's-
get more shots than one. One.
You just have to manually put a pellet in every time you shoot.
And that little Ed gun Lacey,
Yeah.
dude, that's a killer.
I know.
I'm telling you, it's a killer.
Yeah. So depending on what your purpose is for getting it,
Mm-hmm. Sometimes like a single
Single
shot like
shot
that
is perfectly adequate.
perfect.
you know, like what you were doing with your Leshy out slaying little critters.
Squirrels, yeah.
That's a single shot does fine for that.
And it was for my son was using that one.
Yeah.
It was just perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so they're still supremely accurate and quiet, and that's a phenomenal gun for that price point. There's a lot of different styles actually in that price point. So in that price point, I have a hard time actually. To be honest, I'd say, that's the one.
There's a lot of good options, is what you're saying.
There's a lot of good options, but not as many options actually from that price point until you get to 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, hey, there's some really good
Then
stuff at that mid price.
The floodgates open.
But once and that's like good quality. You're going to get a nice gun that you'd be happy with.
Right.
Unless you shoot one that starts at around 1,000, when you start jumping into the better,
Which is
the
why
more
when we
precision
came
made.
here the first time, you gave us the most expensive gun in the shop.
He
Here,
let us
try
shoot
this
his,
out.
like,
I like to.
$6,000 setup. Nice.
Yeah, I like to crack the right eggs before you make an omelet. Let's just start with
We look through this Night Force scope,
Yeah.
and it's like super clear.
Everything else feels like garbage now.
and that's the difference when you jump from the $300 point, which is like still really nice. If you've never shot one, you'll be like, dude, this is the coolest, funnest gun I've ever shot. But compared to what you can get into nowadays is like,
Yeah.
you're right. It would feel not as good compared to what you're getting after that.
And keep in mind, when we're talking like when you go super high end, this is the same stuff that competitive Olympic athletes are using, like in the biathlon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, top quality, top shelf stuff, not,
you're getting into barrel quality that will rival anything at that point. And then obviously precision valving, triggers that are, you're getting into that.
My gosh.
Some of those triggers are crazy.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're getting, you talk about those Olympic, I mean, you're talking like 2-ounce triggers, maybe.
Right.
Stuff like that. So
don't take it out on a windy day.
Cover that trigger. Yeah, so.
Okay, so what would you say would be the $1,000 to like, I don't know, $1,200, $1,300?
So starting at 1,000, I would say the absolute number one bang for your buck would be the FX Dreamline series.
Oh yeah,
because you are getting a lot of gun for that at $1,000 price point, because you get a lot of the same features that you do on the $2,000 FX guns, which is adjustable power levels, switch caliber capabilities, so you can switch a caliber in 5-10 minutes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you
cool.
buy 2 barrel kits for it. You buy a lot of guys will go like, okay, I'll do a 22 for around my shooting in the backyard, plinking or whatever, but something to get me some real like if I want to shoot a coyote, maybe I'll jump to 30 caliber.
Yeah.
And you can do that with one gun.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Super cool.
So yeah, that is probably the bang for the buck. And they have so many variants of that gun. It's kind of like a Lego gun. You can build it in compact, you can build it in full size, you can put it chassis, you can do tactical, AR buttstocks. Really cool platform. That kind of owns that price point, really.
So the Dreamline has got that.
It's really kind of got that price point nailed down pretty good.
Nice.
There are others. There's some of the Day States, which is a high-end company that's been around forever, from the UK. They have some guns in that price point that are really nice. They're a little bit different style because they're beautiful English wood stock.
Because they're English.
And they shoot really well. But bang for the buck. I mean, what the capabilities are of the Dreamline, there's no...
And those are the FX models, the
Correct.
Dreamline, which they're Swedish?
Swedish, correct. Yeah. So
it seems like a lot of the really cream of the crop stuff is coming out of Europe.
It is for sure. Yeah, there's German made, there's some of the British, also Czech Republic, Russia, obviously Sweden, Germany. They all are rolling out some pretty good
because they can't get real guns.
Right? Yeah. So
they perfected the air gun.
I was gonna say, can we get real guns right now?
No kidding.
Yeah, right.
No kidding.
Or can you get real ammo to shoot in your real guns?
Right.
Yeah, that's a tough thing right now.
And then obviously the jump from 1,300 to 2,000. There's a pretty good mix of
There's
guns
lots
in
of
there.
good options.
There's a lot of good options. So
tell us some of your favorites of those options. So earlier we were shooting down at the range the Cayman
X.
So the Cayman X, that'd be in that right there, starting at that 1,300 and up. That's a little bullpup made in the Czech Republic. Fantastic engineering. They fine triggers,
dexterous.
Really nice barrel. They got CZ barrels in them. They've got a really efficient valve system, so you get a ton of shots per fill. As you fill the gun,
and super compact.
Yeah,
which is cool.
And compact. And one thing, your draw to it was there's not something sticking out like a magazine sticking out the left side or the right side.
That's the only issue I have with my Wildcat is as I shoot it from the left and the magazine is right in my cheek.
Yeah.
So we'll talk some options.
So that's a great option. You get into your the FX Crown. That's the big bottle that you were looking at today.
That's the one I was looking at.
Yeah.
So that's more of a traditional rifle style, not a bullpup.
Right.
And that thing,
lightweight.
It was surprisingly lightweight. It had the one I was looking at had a carbon fiber tank.
Yeah.
And we compared the aluminum tank versus the carbon fiber, and
big difference.
There is a big difference in the weight.
But there's also a trade-off in durability between the carbon fiber and the aluminum.
There is, and that's where some of the price comes from because those bottles aren't cheap. It's a carbon wrap aluminum tank that is going to hold a massive amount of pressure compared to other air tubes. So your air capacity and your shot counts, you go into a bottle gun, you're going to basically double your shot counts.
Yeah, and one thing for people who aren't familiar with the air guns, you have kind of like two different types of air reservoirs. You have like the tubes, and then you have tanks. Yeah. And the tanks, are they generally removable? Can you buy two tanks and throw one in your backpack? And
a lot of the manufacturers have check valves on those tanks, so you can. I don't push that a lot, only because the extra bottles are pricey. So it's kind of like a $300 shot per tank. So
how much are the aluminum ones? That much?
Glad you brought that. The aluminum, there's actually big bottles that are aluminum as well. No, they're about half the price. So that would make more sense to buy extra bottles that way.
So I'm just thinking, if I buy a gun that I want to use for small game hunting, I'm going to use it for bunny hunting and stuff like that, and I'm just going to shoot a ton, and I'm going to be out in the field away from my big air tank, which we'll talk about those here in a minute. The other stuff you need to have. But it makes sense to have an extra bottle that's already filled because they're fairly small. Throw it in your backpack. If
Sure.
that one
Yeah.
runs out, I just unscrew it, screw the next one on, and it saves you from having to have a big air tank like a scuba tank that you fill
Right.
it from,
Yeah.
and gives you more shot
Right.
count and stuff like that. But you can get a ton of shots if in like a
Yeah.
22. Roughly, how many shots are you getting out of one of those tanks, the bottles that's on the gun?
Nowadays, generally 100 plus,
Yeah.
easily. You know,
Yeah, that's a lot of shots.
some of the others
Which-
you're getting 200 shots with a
Yeah.
22 cal in that.
Last
in that
time I
bottle.
went bunny hunting, I pulled the trigger 10 times.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
So that yeah, but the tubes they generally have quite a bit less capacity.
They
or
do have
not
less
necessarily.
capacity. I mean, the whole reason they do an air tube on some versus not is because it is that streamlined. It
Yeah.
kind of still looks like a traditional rifle where you get a bottle out on the front. And you're like, what is that thing? Well, it's an air gun, but it's
yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
it has a different
it looks kind of more like a paintball gun.
yeah, it has a
with
different
that.
look compared to just kind of a a streamlined air tube that goes under the barrel. So.
Yeah.
And like on the tactical 2x4, the Cayman,
The Cayman, the
Yeah.
tactical
Tactical 2x4.
Yeah.
Yep.
that one is very kind of like seamless. Like you can't see the air tank
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, so the air
So it's got
the
that
air
air
tube is hidden by the
tube.
stock. And
Yeah.
There is a lot of wood on that gun, but
Underneath that wood is
yeah, it's a slick design.
And
I
you-
really like it.
I
the
do too.
kind of minimalist design with that one. You know, you can't get that with an air tank because the air tank is
Correct.
just
It's wider.
bigger, wider.
Yeah. So
And
yeah, and same with like the Wildcat, the Mark
Mm-hmm.
III that I have. It's just kind of a sleek, streamlined.
It is.
compact because it has the tube instead of the
Yeah.
tank.
And like I said, that's not a deal breaker by any means. Like
No,
because like you said, I mean, you could go out rabbit hunting. I mean, you think about
Yeah.
it. How often do you blow through a full box of 22 ammunition?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Every
I mean,
time.
Yeah.
You get lucky,
Just kidding.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, it's
For
going to
sure.
tide you over to make a round, get back to the truck, air
Yeah.
up.
for sure.
So
you know.
just as a on our little squirrel hunt we went on a while back,
Mhm.
my buddy Riley and I both had the Wildcats,
Yeah,
and we never ran out of gas while we were out there. And we went we'd go hunt the morning, come back for lunch, and then hunt from
you
lunch
didn't
to
top them off at lunchtime?
We did top them off
Okay.
at lunch, but we never ran out while we were out there.
Yeah.
And even the little Ed gun Leishi that my son was using, he didn't run out of air, but he also didn't take as many shots as us.
Right.
So
sure.
it was
And my Wildcat's the more compact version.
yeah.
So,
you had
so it
less-
has a smaller air
Correct.
tube.
Yeah.
Right.
But I still get how many shots in the magazine on that? Is there 15 or 20?
It's 22 or 25, I can't remember.
It's a
22.
22.
22, so it's an 18-round magazine.
So 18 round magazine. I can get between 3 and 4 magazines before I gotta put more air in it.
So yeah, you're still talking
So-
Yeah.
60.
Yeah.
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 So and that's a lot.
It is.
if you're doing it for hunting, because you actually shoot less when you're hunting than if
Oh,
you're doing.
and then if you're just plinking in the backyard
Yeah.
or wherever, for sure.
Yep.
So let's get into. Okay, so I just bought my air gun, whether it was a $300 one or a $3,000 one. You're not done.
You're not done.
And this is kind of the point where people can sometimes kind of take a step back and go, oh, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
But let's
Yeah.
talk about what else you need.
Okay, so what you're going to need for a pre-charged air gun after you purchase the gun is you're going to need a way to fill it.
Right.
It's not just standard, pressure where you get 100 psi. It's high pressure. Most of them run on 3,000 psi fill or more.
Right.
So you can't hook it up to your Harbor Freight air compressor.
No,
No.
we get that a lot. Well, I have a compressor at home. Can I use that? No, that's
So
Yeah.
what is the big distinguisher between the compressor at home and what you would need to fill this up?
okay. So the biggest thing is those. If you had a high pressure compressor, obviously they have more stages in the pumps in those to get more pressure, obviously, but they're gonna pump less volume, obviously, than a home compressor. Home compressor you can fill a tire up pretty fast, and
Right.
that's a lot of volume, but it's not a lot of pressure. That's kind of the difference between this stuff is high pressure, low volume versus higher volume.
So to fill to the pressures that you need in these air guns, you're talking about a 2-stage air compressor.
Yeah, at least. So
Yeah.
let me break down the options. So
Starting with the hand pump.
option A. Option A is, let's just say you're not in very good shape. You're about to be in good shape with an air gun and a hand pump. You're going to get some
It's a weight
exercise.
loss program also.
The hand pump, for guns that have a smaller air tube and stuff, they work fine. They'll get you by. They are not fun to pump, though. It takes some serious oomph to get that last kind of
Sure.
inch of compression on it. It looks like a bike pump, like you would think, just
Yeah.
like a standard bike pump. But
Can you
it's high
use a
pressure.
standard? Okay, so it's not the same as a
No.
standard bike pump. Okay,
No, so
it's a
it's-
high pressure
Yeah,
pump.
high pressure, low volume.
And it'll work, but you will hate it.
It will work, and there are different grades of those hand pumps. There's a 2, 3, and a 4-stage pump.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
The nicer they get, the 4-stage pump, whole lot easier to pump.
Okay.
Generally has some air dryer media in it as
Okay.
well, so that's a good thing because
So
condensation
you're
is,
pumping moisture.
is a
it's
concern.
really there.
Especially when you get that high pressure, obviously there's heat, so you get.
Yeah.
So all of them will have some kind of air, an air filter, kind of a moisture catch on the hose.
Okay.
But man, if you're gonna buy a hand pump, I would say splurge an extra $100 and get.
Okay, so
one of
what
these.
is the
Talk
price?
price.
Starting about $130. I mean, you could probably go on the old interweb and find a Chinese one for $50, whatever. You'll get what you pay for.
Right.
And I would say that for any
You'll
of the
get
pumps.
COVID? Wait, what?
Yeah, right. But I would say that, and vice versa. Any of the pumps, even the nice ones that we carry, you start $130 and go up. You're gonna get what you pay for.
So when you say go up, where for like this?
They can get up to $450. That would be
Okay.
your
That's-
top of the line hand pump.
Okay.
And it would work very well, especially with guns with air tubes versus an air bottle.
Right.
'Cause that'll
You're
take you
talking a
forever.
lot more volume, so it's going to take you a lot. I mean, you're going to have a good 6-pack after a couple months of shooting, but
Right.
You line up the whole family and you take turns.
yeah.
All right, 20
So,
pumps each.
Yeah.
Go.
Another alternative, and is a newer option that's really kind of caught on, is they have a 12 volt that can convert to 110 or 12 volt compressor. That's a high pressure compressor.
And they're tiny.
They're tiny. Yeah, I mean, you fit it under the seat in the truck or whatever.
It's like a lunchbox.
So you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
you could run it off your car.
You can run it off your car.
Ooh,
So
that's kind of
yeah.
and they're great for filling air guns. They work great. They'll
How long does it take?
say 3 to 5 minutes.
3 to 5
generally
minutes.
to top off a gun.
Okay.
They're not made to fill your big bottles,
Like-
which is going to be your next
Which,
alternative.
yeah, we'll
up.
get to the big
We'll get to
bottles.
that, but for filling a gun,
Yeah.
on a 12 volt or a 110, it's a great option because it's going to pump it up to about 250 bar, which is about 3,700 psi.
And you've got two different options that you guys have.
We have probably
you have
4 different options
Okay,
now.
I saw 2
they're
on the
really,
showroom.
Everybody's kind of jumping on board with their own compressor these days.
Right.
So they're
price
Because of the
point.
demand.
Price point on the
Price point.
compressor.
350 up to 550.
Okay.
And it's
On that
way
12 volt
easier than a hand pump.
100%.
Yeah.
Way easier.
Yeah.
So the next alternative is you get a larger air cylinder, which you've seen.
We're talking like a scuba tank type of
Yeah, like the
size.
kind that the
fire department
Yeah, that's the best way to
use.
explain it if somebody's not seen them. Is it a lot like the carbon fiber bottles that you'd see a fireman wear on their back
Right.
as a breathing apparatus. So that is the best way, especially if you have an air gun with a bottle, because it's fast.
Uh-huh.
You hook it up, turn a valve on, 5 seconds later your gun's full.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say
It's
that
really
is
convenient.
Yeah.
the fastest way to fill one up.
Yeah.
For sure.
And if
And that's what you guys use in the range here. You've got a few bottles
Correct.
sitting at the back to top
Yeah.
people's guns off with.
So, and most people that are buying a high-end air gun end up with a bottle.
Yeah.
Just because, for one, you shoot more than you think you would.
Yeah.
So you kind of, a lot of people hold back. I think a hand pump will cover me for. And it turns out they shoot so much that I'm getting tired of pumping this thing.
Yeah.
What's the next move? And then so they move into those. But the air cylinders, you need a way to fill them, which is via dive shops, paintball stores.
You're talking a much larger, much more expensive multi-stage air compressor.
Correct.
yeah, those are a lot bigger.
Yeah. So
Not these little ones that we're talking about aren't going to fill one of those.
correct. Yeah, they just don't have the capability to run that long without overheating. So-
Melting.
yeah. So, but a lot of people will do the bottles. We have a couple different sizes. The bottles are expensive though. That's where it kind of stops people in their tracks. Like, oh, they start about $550 for a brand new carbon fiber.
It's carbon fiber, not junk.
Absolutely.
High end stuff.
Yeah. You're talking valves where you have the bleed system that you have to have to fill these. You have to wait. You have to have a way to relieve the pressure from the line before you unhook it from your gun, right?
Yep.
So that makes it a little different. But that's what.
And cost wise, so their rent, they start about what?
Five
for a brand new one.
Yeah, for a brand new one. With your valve, your hoses, fittings, everything, So
I was gonna say, you find some old guy who can't scuba dive anymore, and you buy his stuff.
yeah, right. So, and then you go into, if you're shooting a lot, then a lot of guys will buy a home use high pressure compressor that's going to fill their bottles as well.
Yeah.
And those to get, I would say, kind of skip past the ones you're going to find that are $400 to $500.
Yeah.
They'll work, but not
going to
very
last.
good. A lot of times they don't last very much. And the other concern is pumping condensation and oil into your air reservoirs, which you don't want.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but getting into those compressors, $1,300 kind of price point to start to get into something where you could use it from home, plug it into a 110, and it's going to pump up your bigger tanks as well.
So basically, what you're saying, to get started in this, and the upfront cost getting into the pre-charged pneumatic air guns is steeper than going and buying a firearm. The advantage you have is after you're there, it's basically nothing.
Yeah, it's like you're shooting for free almost.
Yeah, buy once, cry once.
Right. But so if you're just getting into it and you're like, hey, I'm gonna buy this, $300, $500 solid starter gun, you're gonna end up with an air tank and stuff like that. You're gonna be in the $1,000 range.
Sure.
Just jumping off that.
Yeah, depending on what optics and whatever else.
Right. So
there's one option I skipped though, and I forgot. There is one particular model gun we carry. It's called an Aspen Seneca. It is a pre-charged air gun that does have its own onboard, like a multi-pump.
Oh. So
but it has a small air reservoir, so you can either fill it with a compressor or a tank,
or you can pump it.
You can also pump it. So say you pump it up, and normally with a multi-shot pump air gun like we all grew up with,
right?
You get one shot per 5 to 10 pumps, whatever you put in it.
Or
this one you can pump up the reservoir, and it's magazine fed, side lever, just like a pre-charged gun. And you're going to get about 15 full. You're going to get a full magazine of full powered shots.
Okay. So what was that one called, and how much does it cost?
That's called an Aspen Seneca, and it's around that $300 range.
Oh, okay.
So it's a really cool option as well. It shoots accurate, it's quiet.
And we're talking rifle, bullpup?
Rifle.
Okay.
But it's totally self-contained, so that's a great way.
That might be a good prepper.
Preppers, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Because it's.
Think about it. You need to go hunt something, then you just hurry and pump it up before you go, and then you've got that reservoir for.
Yeah. We actually did a video with the guys from Fieldcraft Survival.
Oh, okay.
And that when they saw that pump, they geeked out on it, like that's perfect for our audience,
right.
So
yeah.
So that's a great option too. But yeah, to get into a nice pre-charged pneumatic, even if you want the convenience of a fill tank, everything, you're around $1,000 with your air tank, your scope, your pellets, your gun.
Yeah. One thing we didn't mention, so if you have one of the big, like the scuba tank size things that you're filling from, when that's empty, you guys refill those here.
We do it here as well.
What do you guys charge to refill one?
$10.
Okay. So
and you're talking like
still
we'll just throw out an average number, probably 1,000 shots you're gonna get.
I would say at least.
Unless shooting big bores, that's a whole different ballgame.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
and dive shops and stuff like that for people that aren't around here can fill those.
Dive shops, paintball locations generally will have high pressured air, and if you have a friendly fire station, a lot of times they can do it off of their compressors as well.
It might cost you some pizza or something.
That's right. That's right.
Grease the wheels.
Never hurts.
Bring in some pizzas
So
the downside to air guns is the initial expense for sure.
Right.
It's just when you're talking, especially when we're talking 22 calibers, you can go buy a Ruger 1022. It's a great gun, shoots awesome for $300, and you're good to go other than ammo. But you can't find the ammo now, so it's a different world. It's a different mindset. Once you try it, you will understand, and it will make sense. And I think for anybody who considers themselves a shooter, a hunter, or a prepper, if you don't have...
It's a great addition.
Yeah, if you don't have an air gun in your arsenal, you are totally missing the boat, because it's redundancy, and it fills a niche that your other firearms aren't going to in... worst case scenario, complete collapse of the society and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And you're missing the absolute best training tool you could ever have as a shooter.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I
air guns,
agree.
because you can get really good triggers, good trigger time. There's no bad habits learned by shooting air guns.
Yeah. It's not like running, an airsoft gun or a paintball gun. You can't get good training with a paintball gun other than maybe tactics, maybe how you move and stuff like that.
Sure.
But the guns are so different that everything else is lost, and that's not the case with these. They're set up pretty much the exact same way any other rifle is. The charge handles can be a little bit different, but the action's the same.
Very similar.
They have safeties more or less like any other gun does. The triggers function just like better than most.
and you can replicate pretty much every platform of firearm that you'd like. You can get air guns that replicate a Colt 45. It looks
that's
just
true.
It's to weight, to scale, fun, shoots. Up to a precision rifle with a chassis, we got it. Air guns and chassis that would feel just like shooting some type of PRS type platform rifle. So, but there's definite advantage, and that's the hardest part about my job selling high-end air guns is sitting here telling people how awesome they are, and it's kind of like, how awesome could it be? It's still just an air gun.
Right.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
Yeah, because they're thinking it's a pellet gun or BB gun, and it's just not. It's not the same.
It is a precision shooting.
When you think about it, again, think about the guys in the biathlon and the Olympics that are shooting incredibly tight tolerances and super tiny targets while they're out of breath. And nailing stuff. That's what we're talking about. And you can get that accuracy out of the mid-grade stuff. You don't have to spend $5,000 to get that kind of accuracy with this stuff. You get some nicer features and stuff like that once you get into that price point. But you're not sacrificing accuracy in that mid-range for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, now one thing I think you kind of glossed over was the high-end favorites.
Okay.
So because I don't think you mentioned the Impact at all.
I haven't, I guess we didn't get up.
You mentioned the Crown because that's what I was drooling on downstairs.
But
what are some of your favorite high-end ones and, some of the models and costs?
The Impact is going to be at that $2,000 price point. That's kind of the ultimate of awesome air guns that will do just about whatever you want.
It's super modular, so
it's
you
super
can build
modular.
it how you want.
And when I say it's the one because it does everything, it's a switch caliber from 177 up to now 35 caliber.
Oh, geez!
Wow.
So you can sling 81 grain pellets at 950 feet per second out of that platform. Down to 30, 25, 22, or 177 calibers. You can buy barrel kits for all of those and have it in the same gun.
Cool. So besides the Impact,
there's the Rapid Air Weapons, RAW. That's also actually owned by Air Force, so another American-made company. They make phenomenal rifles as well. They don't have a bullpup platform or anything, but a traditional bottle target high-powered rifle. Incredible gun that way too. You've got the FX Crowns. You've got we have a company called Taipan, which is another Czech Republic bullpup manufacturer.
With
really
the name
nice
Taipan?
With the name Taipan.
I expected Taiwan.
That's what I thought too.
I don't understand the name that way because it's not.
That's really funny.
That is funny.
Yeah, made in the Czech Republic, but again, supremely accurate platform. Again, that like your Air Max Caymans, they're actually coming out with a new model as well. That's a longer, like tactical looking rifle. The nice thing about that one that's coming out: anti-double feed magazines, fellas.
Oh,
yeah.
So that is
that's
handy.
a
So
nice
if you
feature.
and those who are listening that don't know what I'm talking about, with a lot of these air guns, as they're like a bolt action basically, but you're capable of loading more pellets
As
in
you
the barrel
cock
than you
it,
want.
it
If you
loads
keep
around.
cocking and just and not shooting, it's just jamming pellets into the barrel a lot of times.
Yeah, it's kind of like a squib, but it doesn't blow your gun up.
Correct. Yeah. So those are mishaps that can happen, especially people that haven't ever used them. So
Right.
it happens. Not a big deal, but it is convenient to have something where you can't screw it up.
Yeah.
So that'll be a nice option. That's actually coming out like next week.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'll have to fill you guys in on that one.
Yeah.
It's Air Max Arms, called a Catran. I know they have weird names, but it's going to be a really cool rifle as well. But that would be another one. Gosh, there's so many.
And there's
So
a lot
many
of them.
guns.
We didn't even touch on this, but there's a lot of them that you can shoot pellets as well as slugs.
Yeah, and that's where that's part of what you're going to start seeing once you get
Once you
into
get
that
up into the
1,000
higher end.
number is
Yeah.
you have some versatility as far as you can shoot pellets or slugs.
And why would you want to shoot a slug over a pellet or vice versa?
So a pellet is ideal for what we're talking about shooting, where normally you couldn't shoot a normal firearm generally because
Right.
it's nice because a pellet doesn't carry its energy a long
It
ways
just dumps
compared
it all on
to
impact.
Yeah.
compared
Yeah.
to a slug.
Right.
So a little bit safer that way as far as where the projectile ends up.
Right.
So that's the good thing about pellets. It's also the bad thing about pellets. If you want to start really practicing your long range or hunting, varmints long range,
Uh-huh.
a slug is going to be far better because it retains its energy so much farther because of ballistic
And
coefficient.
they're more aerodynamic.
It hits
Yeah, so the
harder.
ballistic coefficiency, meaning it goes through the air slicker, is the best way I could describe it if you're
Yeah.
not familiar with ballistic coefficiency. So it goes through the air with less resistance, so it carries its energy farther.
Yep.
And man, that is changing the airgun world big time because the slugs and the barrel systems and stuff that are evolving now, it's getting very interesting what you can do with a small caliber airgun that is almost silent,
Yeah.
So, so that's what you're getting now. Like with FX, they have barrel systems where not only can you change calibers, but in the same caliber, you can change a barrel line. The actual barrel liner is removable and replaceable.
Huh.
So if you want one specifically to shoot pellets, we have the pellet barrel for you. If you want to move into slugs with that same gun, crank up some power, we put a faster twist rate barrel in it, a barrel liner, $110 to change your whole barrel system.
Wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
And how tough is it to change it?
It's simple. It's a 10-minute, and
Okay.
and that's if you had some struggles, 10-minute
if you're
process.
taking your time.
Yeah.
So if you can
Cool.
clean a gun, you can change a barrel.
Yeah, of course.
Speaking of that, that's another thing that is really cool about air guns, maintenance on them.
Yeah,
Very minimal.
very minimal. So the maintenance on a pre-charged air gun is basically, okay, the standard, if it's going to be stored, keep a little bit of oil on the steel parts that could be corroded.
Right.
Most of these are aluminum parts, but they
Right.
do have some metal on them. But barrel care is what I tell everybody that buys them. They say, oh, how do we clean them or how often do we clean them? I tell them, you don't. Unless it just absolutely starts to lose accuracy, don't even touch it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times these barrels actually shoot better dirty.
So it's
But-
perfect for Taco's philosophy of don't clean it unless
Until
it
it
stops
fails.
working.
Yes, I like it. But there's no carbon buildup, there's no copper fouling, there's none
Yeah.
of that. So if you are cleaning it, if you have a pull-through cord or a rod, it's just a patch with some degreaser type cleaner.
Uh-huh.
Simple grain or ballistol, if you see ballistol, because
Uh-huh.
it's a vegetable based oil as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason I'm giving those options is something petroleum based, like a gun solvent, will dissolve your breech O-rings that are in the barrel.
Oh yeah.
That's not good.
And it's a simple fix. It's a $2 O-ring that you can change pretty easily. But
Still no point
to
in
avoid
messing it up.
Yeah, no messing it up.
Yeah.
Is you just use something that's non-petroleum that's safe for your O-rings. But it's swab the barrel a couple times, get the lead out, done. I mean, it's super, super easy. So
Cool.
not having to scrub out carbon or copper
Yeah.
It's nice.
and nasty chemicals to do it with.
Right.
It's extremely convenient to clean. So yeah.
Okay, and one last reason to buy an air gun is you don't have to do anything fancy, no paperwork, no wait times.
Yeah.
If you want to have a quote unquote silencer, you call them moderators in the air gun world.
Yeah, we
But-
try to avoid the lingo that gets us into that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Raise
so
eyebrows, but-
you can shoot these.
Super quiet, super accurate, 22
Yeah.
caliber
Yeah.
or 177 caliber or greater. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
cool.
So, and here's a couple examples of why air guns on a couple different ends of the spectrum. One, my wife and I actually talked about this one time about the whole survival thing. Let's just say the worst happens. We have this giant, earthquake or whatever, and
Let's
we're in
just say
we're-
zombie apocalypse.
zombie apocalypse, whatever. Or say the idiots in Washington at one point swoop up everything,
Right.
which who
Which
knows?
is probably
right?
the most likely of all these scenarios.
Yeah, I guess
I don't
so,
know.
yeah.
There's some people who are thinking like zombies. They
Yeah.
got the brain
Oh, for
capacity.
sure.
But,
of
yeah,
fish.
for
But
sure.
yeah, anyways.
But to the point was, if any of those happen, we're talking like food storage and stuff. I was joking with my wife. I said, "Well, I got our food storage. I've got my air guns and I've got bags of bird seed. So
We'll be eating.
the zombies aren't going to hear me shooting the doves in the backyard,
Yeah.
or the deer or whatever I need to shoot them with. But,
Yeah.
What's for dinner?
but
Pigeon.
I can bait in
Oh, yeah.
some kind of protein and
Oh,
kill
yeah.
it silently in the neighborhood if I need to. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, absolutely.
So there are.
I have a family of ducks that live in the canal right next to my shop.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying is you could obtain food probably a little bit easier sometimes with these
Oh,
than
I
you
would
could with
say
something
a whole
else.
lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without damaging meat like you would with a big
Yeah.
firearm. So that's one end of the spectrum.
One other question that I have. I know you hunt with air guns.
Yeah.
What are, and I know we're probably just talking in Utah, but what are the laws of when
Okay.
you can and can't hunt and stuff like that
Yeah.
with an air gun? I imagine are you applying for a muzzle loader and that's going to qualify you with your air gun or?
No, so in Utah specifically, the laws are we can't hunt game animals with air guns other than ones that shoot arrows. So we have air guns that actually
Really?
shoot an arrow or a bolt,
Okay.
and they do it very effective. In fact, I killed my deer last year at 66 yards with an arrow shooter air gun.
Huh. What hunt do you apply
So
for?
the stipulation is it has to be any weapon season. So basically
Oh, okay.
rifle season, or if you have a disability where you can't draw a bow or anything, you're able to use that, just like a crossbow, right?
Uh-huh.
So if you're handicapped, you can shoot from the vehicle with an arrowed shooter, right? So
Huh. Okay.
cool.
yeah,
So right now Utah doesn't allow hunting game animals with an air gun.
with a with a slug or something.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah, it is disappointing. We had it all. We did a really cool presentation with the division, and they loved it, and they agreed this is fantastic. In fact, specifically was the meeting about hunting turkeys in the fall
Uh-huh.
because they've approved rim fires to hunt turkeys with.
Oh, really?
And they said, well, this is crazy. Why wouldn't we be able to use air guns? Even California can use air guns to hunt turkeys with. So take that,
Really?
Utah. Yeah.
Huh.
But
That's interesting.
got to pass them. They loved it. They said, yes, we're going to go take this.
So
back
what is there? Is there a movement? Is there an organization? Are you guys actively trying?
Yeah.
Obviously, so you had meetings with them, putting some pressure on them
Yeah.
to allow. Because it seems to me, if I've got a 50 cal muzzle loader or I have a 50 cal air gun, they're basically sixes as far as.
Here's the difference, and they didn't sugarcoat it by telling me. Here's the only difference. The airgun industry does not pay the federal excise tax, the Pittman and Robertson tax.
There you go.
They said, okay, well, that part of that revenue goes to conservation.
Sure.
Okay, it's hard to justify the airgun industry to pay that
Yeah.
because it's a very, very small percentage of actual airgun industry that's used for taking game.
Yeah.
In the big picture.
So here's in my mind, here's a really easy solution for that is you have a different permit for somebody or a different tag for somebody who's hunting with an air gun versus somebody who's hunting with a muzzleloader. So maybe my muzzleloader tag costs me $25 and my air gun tag costs me $45.
Yeah, I proposed, and we'll see where it goes, but I proposed we do an airgun stamp.
Okay.
You know, just like a duck stamp or anything else. It's an extra tax stamp that you have to buy, $30 whatever, that allows you to hunt game with your air guns throughout the season. So
yeah.
We'll see where that goes,
if that's their only hang-up, that seems pretty easy.
Seems pretty reasonable, right?
Yeah.
And I agree. If you're hunting with it, you should be responsible to pay your portion of whatever for
conservation.
Yeah,
Which we're all good with.
I have no problem with user taxes. I think they make the most sense.
Yeah.
And so that would be interesting. That needs to happen because I really want to take a deer.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, and I know you have. I assume you're in, Wyoming or Montana or somewhere.
I was in Utah.
No, he used the arrow.
Oh,
I
that's
used the arrow shooter. So.
That's right.
But there are some organizations pushing airgun laws, and now there are a lot of states now where it's Idaho even. You can use air rifles. They have caliber restrictions, obviously, but you can use an air rifle.
But that's the same
game.
with regular
of course.
powder burners.
Yeah.
You can't hunt certain things with a caliber smaller than whatever.
Yeah, you want an ethical weapon to
Right.
use. But
and if they were coming at it from that approach, that question's already been answered.
yeah,
You've got dangerous game in Africa being taken with air guns.
you do. Yeah,
So-
exactly. So
That's not the concern.
yeah, other end of the spectrum.
Oh, yeah.
Why buy an air gun?
Oh yeah.
For instance, like if you want to go shoot varmints, like we're talking ground squirrels, rabbits, whatever. I mean, just to give you an example, of what you can do with it, a .22 caliber air rifle. Granted, a high-end air rifle. It's going to shoot a slug, but my longest shot to date now, 580 yards with a .22 caliber slug,
And
it is silent shooting. Just
what did
a finger snap
What
going
did
off.
you take down with that?
That was a prairie dog, 580 yards, and it wasn't an unethical. When I hit it, it died.
It dropped and rolled.
So
I think that is on your YouTube channel.
it
Isn't
is. It is.
What's the name of the video?
Oh man!
It's toward
Actually,
the end of it.
my 580 yard shot is not on the video.
So-
we have a 565 yard shot.
So what
and
you're
that
saying
was-
is it didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. Hypothetically saying I could do it, I didn't do it on camera. So, but we do have a 565 yard shot on camera, and that was on a ground
A
squirrel.
ground squirrel. I think I saw that one.
So
There was a 2-part video, and it was part 2 toward the end of it.
yeah, I think it's called like the Ultimate Airgun Adventure. Maybe it was.
Something
We were
like
hunting
that.
ground squirrels in California.
Okay.
So yeah, if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll probably see that.
It'll impress you what you see on that YouTube channel. Really
I shot
cool stuff.
like a 12-inch buffalo-shaped gong at 650 yards with a 25 caliber slug, which again
Dang.
is silent shooting.
Wow.
So
Cool.
Yeah.
and it's cheap.
Yeah.
You don't have to sleep outside the gun store to get ammo or
Yeah.
worry about shipping it across the country. It's not a firearm. There's not those same lines. You don't have to ship it from FFL to FFL unless you're in stupid states like New Jersey, for instance.
Yeah, I was going to say
Yeah,
there's a couple of
There's a couple
states
of them
that
that you
have
can.
some restrictions, but
So
for most of us that live in regular America,
Free America.
put it this way, we can even ship them to California, guys. So it's still pretty loose. So
there you go.
but
Awesome.
there's no registration. There's no laws that way. Again, you can suppress them legally without tax stamps and
Yeah.
ATF involved. So
Yeah.
awesome.
Okay. Well, I think that's about it.
I think we got the air gun stuff covered.
Yep. So thanks
Yeah.
again for
Yeah, of
joining
course.
us. And
Check
Appreciate
out
you
Utah
guys having
Air
us.
Guns on YouTube and UtahAirguns.com. And when you do place your order, use the code AirCandy for free shipping.
Absolutely.
and
turret stickers.
Yeah, and we left it wide open for a lot of probably questions, which we could never cover in a 3-hour podcast. So if you have questions, if you see it's like a gun on the website that you're really interested in or whatever, by all means call us. Everybody here is an actual user of the product. So
Spoken
call
like
us
a
up.
true drug dealer.
We're all users.
We're all users.
We all know what this can do for you. So, but that being said, call us, anytime. Call us if you have questions. We can answer those for you. Or you can email us if you don't like, calling for information. Just email us at info@utahairguns.com.
okay,
Cool.
cool.
Awesome.
Well, thanks.
Yeah,
and
of
I'm ready to go downstairs and talk about some more guns.
yeah. So until next week,
Till next week.
stay safe, have fun,
Be
check
nice.
out some air guns.
Yeah, do it.
Absolutely.
You won't regret it.
Yep.
I'm ready.
And welcome to the.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
I was gonna say,
tell me what to do.
just make sure you talk loud.
Yeah.
you
because-
ruined everything.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
My bad. Okay,
All right.
we're good.
Welcome to the Concealed Paco.
The concealed Paco.
Concealed Paco. Let me start that over.
Okay.